All right, let's bring that volume down on my sweet intro jam and get into the show. Welcome, everybody, to Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. It's Friday morning. This is our Thursday recap edition. And as you guys have seen lately, we are doing a more condensed iteration. This is what it'll look like on your YouTube screen. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube screen, friends, because that's what we're trying to do here at the end of the year. I mean, in addition to actually winning our fantasy basketball leagues, which in head-to-head right now with injuries, easier said than done. But we're doing our best, damn it. We're going to stream our way to victory, and that's why we've been doing all these streamer shows. In addition, we didn't have time to do one yesterday, but today we'll have 2 shows, so make sure to subscribe. That way you get both of them. This is the Thursday review condensed edition. I'm realizing that, there we go, and I can give the entire board to you guys. We're going to go through these 8 names I have on the ads board. Obviously, each of them has a story around them. One of these guys might be hurt. One of these guys actually is coming off a really, really bad ball game, but this is why I want to talk through it. Then we've got some names on the very close list. We've got a watch list as well. And really the interesting thing is, considering how few games there were on Thursday, there was a lot of stuff to come out of Thursday. So let's just jump right in. Sharpe is the first name on my board. These are not in order of how much I like them. These are in order of how I looked at the results yesterday, whatever the hell that means to you guys. Sharpe played 22 and a half minutes instead of his usual 18 or 19. I don't know that that means anything is changing. And Trendon Watford getting ejected may have played a small role in it, but we did have some he's not at center minutes. And, floor spacing be damned. Brooklyn's not exactly trying to win all of their ball games. But if there are days where Sharpe and Claxton can coexist, even for just a couple of minutes, that really changes the upside for Sharpe. Because right now, he's extremely limited by the fact that Claxton's still starting and playing 29, 30 minutes a ball game. But here, Claxton played 30 minutes, and Sharpe still got 22 and a half. And he's been putting up numbers in 19. So give him an extra 3 minutes a ball game, and Sharpe becomes a very easy yes. So I like him a lot if you need the stuff he's good at. That's sort of the other caveat to all of these names we're going to talk about. If you need threes and assists, Sharpe is not your guy. If you need rebounds and defensive stats, he is your guy. Simple as that. Also out of Brooklyn, D'Angelo Russell is apparently back in a big way. Now, Cam Johnson was out for this ball game. We know Cam Thomas is out for the extended run. So in terms of like other guys that are willing to be semi-high usage, there were none. Ziaire Williams took the second most shots on the team. Noah Clowney had the second highest usage rate because he took 10 shots in 19 minutes. But like we're sort of at this point down to D'Lo and I'll admit, and I said it on a short that we just put out a few minutes ago, I thought D'Lo was a drop. And there is a lot of evidence over a sustained run, basically since like, when did he get traded to Brooklyn? Sometime in January. He showed up and he got big minutes for like a week and a half. And then he went into a sustained run of not really doing anything. He also missed a couple of weeks in there with injury, came back from injury, played mostly about 25 minutes a game for 2 or 3 weeks after that. Not playing in him back-to-back. So there's all these things jumping out at you. Like, legitimately, he had one good game between the trade deadline and 2 days ago. One. There were a few good ones right when he first showed up in Brooklyn. And I was in here like counting my money. And then he turned awful for a while. He had a good game on February 12th, the last game before the deadline. Shot the ball well, had 15 shots. It was this whole thing. But mostly he's been around like a dozen points and 4 assists on bad percentages and high turnovers. That's not getting it done. And it's obvious too, because if you look at the last week, D'Lo's still outside the top 150 because his free throw percent stinks and his field goal percent stinks. But he's at 17 points, 7 assists, a steal, and almost 3 3-pointers. So lately, it's about the sort of limited sample size bad percentages. If you look at his numbers over the last month, he's shooting 35% on only 12 shots a game, 12 points, 6 assists, a steal, and 2 3-pointers. The 12 points going up to 17, that's the big jump. And just 3-4 extra minutes and an extra assist, and just like he's doing stuff again. And I have no idea if this is going to stick. None. Zippo, zilch. Anybody that thinks they know what the hell Brooklyn's doing right now is deluding themselves. I don't. But right now, in the moment, D'Lo's playing a bunch and doing a bunch, so he belongs on rosters. And you know what else belongs on your roster? A trip to our friends down at Bet Online. March Madness, friends, has begun now, and Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-timer, Bet Online is the ultimate game day companion. They just kicked off a $200,000 bracket contest. Hope you guys got in on that over the last few days. But they got the largest selection of odds on everything in college basketball. They got NHL. They got baseball coming up here in a couple of days. They had the Tokyo series that's over already. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, to every grand slam, to every touchdown, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more on every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Next name on the list, next two names on the list come out of Indiana, where Tyrese Halliburton missed his third consecutive ball game and is now eligible for your IL, which, you know, good and bad, I suppose. At least you can pick up somebody for your team now. I have both Halliburton and Jalen Williams on my head-to-head team that's in the finals. I am clinging by the skin of my teeth to a 5-4 advantage in that matchup, and it is yeesh. And if Halliburton had played even one of these three damn ball games, I could have pivoted all my guard money into big men, but I can't, so I have to just ride it out. But again, at least we can make an ad now. In the interim, Mathurin is getting a ton of extra usage, and he deserves a play. When Halliburton comes back, I think we see Mathurin return to his role as sort of a, free throw and points streamer. Aaron Nesmith, same general idea. He's been playing better even before the Halliburton injury. Mostly on the shoulders of good percentages, some points and some threes, and a little bit of steals, I suppose, blended in there. It's possible that Nesmith continues to hold value even after Halliburton comes back. Of the two guys involved here, he's the one that has sort of the safer floor. But he's shooting 52% from the field and 91% at the free throw line lately, and that's part of why the numbers have looked so good. He's at 16 and 4 with 1.3 steals and 3 3-pointers a game. He deserves to be started just sort of based on the general hottitude, and we'll see how things go over the next couple of weeks because that's the whole damn season. Let's head to Chicago next, where an injury may have derailed things a little bit. I'm holding Tre Jones in my games cap formats. If we find out, they're talking about it being possibly a foot sprain. If that's the case, then he's going to miss at least a ball game. So if you're in your finals, I think what you could probably do is wait and get the official report tomorrow because you do have Atlanta with a weekend back-to-back. I guess the only downside to that is you miss out on a lot of other teams that could have potentially given you 2 games the rest of the way. If we find out that Jones is ruled out a day in advance, that will obviously simplify things for us a little bit. Right now, that we don't have an exact report. My guess is that he probably misses tomorrow's game. So if you're in head-to-head, man, it sucks because if you use a move and then he ends up making a dramatic return, you feel like such a clown because he's been so freaking good. You probably wait till he gets officially ruled out before you make a move. It's better that way. You might miss out on the best pickups, but hopefully you can still get somebody half decent. Roto, hang on. Let's wait and get a timeline. Games cap, he's been so good lately, like a third, fourth rounder that you got to give him head-to-head again, at least until tomorrow, I think, and then Roto until you get an official return date. The other Chicago Bull worth mentioning is Kevin Huerter, who Josh Giddey sat out the back-to-back, so that was part of why Huerter had a bigger ball game. He also is apparently one of those guys that gets cranked up for a revenge day. Go figure. This happens for some guys. It doesn't for others. It's hard to know who's going to fall into which camp. Huerter had the big one. A lot of the other guys that were playing an old team did not. DeMar DeRozan wasn't all that great. What did Zach LaVine do in that ball game? I don't think he was all that amazing either. Yeah, no, he was terrible. LaVine 100% crapped himself. I guess DeRozan was serviceable. But anyway, it was Huerter. If you guess it, Congratulations. I couldn't. But that's not entirely true because it wasn't about the revenge thing. With Huerter, it was because he's been getting a lot of shots with Giddey out, and he seems like he might still get enough even when Josh is back. And now if Jones goes out, I think that keeps Huerter on the should probably be rostered board and isn't. He is not heavily rostered across most Yahoo leagues. The problem, of course, with Kevin Huerter is that he's not a super varied fantasy game. He's going to give you threes, points, and steals. And that's really all you can expect on a consistent basis from him. He had 7 assists in yesterday's ball game, but that was, I believe, a season high, and he hadn't had more than 4 maybe at all. I don't know if he had a 5 or a 6 in there, so that's not going to stick. The rebounds kind of bounce around for him because he's not the smallest dude on earth, but it settles. When he's playing full starters minutes, it settles somewhere in the 4.5 range. So again, like not terrible, but not great. He does have a block in each of his last 3 games, but if you look at the career numbers, you can tell that that's a little more anomalous because what did he have all of last year? He had 23 blocks the entire season, about a third of a block per ball game. So it's really, 1 to 1.2 steals per game, somewhere in that neck of the woods in full starters minutes. Plenty of threes. He's not a great foul shooter, so that's a little bit troublesome as well. So you really need the 11.5 shots per game or more. That's the number for him. And lately he's had it. While we're talking about that particular ball game, let's flip over to the other side and talk Jonas Valanciunas, who played only 15 minutes in this ball game. And I know you guys are thinking that I should be putting him on the drops board, but here's the thing. It's matchup dependent. The Bulls ran him right off the court. But look at what he did the last time Sabonis was out. It wasn't consistent. And it's so funny because I'm playing 2 sides on this same thing. Remember 1 show back or 2 shows back, I was talking about how a lot of you guys were in my mentions when Sabonis went down and you were like, Jonas Valanciunas is a league winner. And I was like, woo, pump the brakes. This guy's a traffic cone. It didn't really burn him that much the first time around. It was like 30 minutes, 23 minutes, 32, 27. He had a 42-minute game. Then there was a 22. And the rebounds were pretty damn consistent. And the field goal percent is going to be consistent. And he's a foul shooting big man. He also had a crazy run of steals and blocks in there, which we know is not typical. It's atypical for JV. He's usually around like a half a steal and 0.8, 0.9 blocks in starters level minutes. So these last 2 games, people are in a full-blown panic because he had 25 minutes and didn't shoot the ball all that well in the prior game. And he had 15 here when the Kings went to Trey Lyles and Jake LaRavia in the front court instead. But guys, he just got run off the court. Next game out, there's going to be a Brook Lopez out there. I don't know what the Kings are going to do. Are they going to have JV to match up with Brook Lopez, or is he going to be stretching the floor and they're going to have to go smaller? It's going to average out somewhere in the low to mid 20s, I would think, at minimum for JV. I don't think that this 15-minute thing becomes the norm going forward. And like even in the kind of bad game against Cleveland, he still had a double-double. I think JV deserves to be held. I didn't even look at Sacramento's schedule. I guess they're off for a couple of days now, but they have a great schedule coming up. Starting on Monday, they go 6 times, they're in the middle of an okay schedule. They only have 1 game left the rest of this week, but they're right in the middle of a 5-game and 7-day stretch. King's schedule's fine. So I would sit on JV. I just think the floor is high enough. At least until Sabonis comes back. And the last game that I looked at when I was putting this list together involved the Golden State Warriors. And to me, the only guy, and I know a number of dudes had a decent game there, and Steph Curry hurt his back. So that becomes a thing, but don't worry, we have a few names on the watch list. Is Brandin Podziemski. He's the guy that needs to be rostered of the fringier Golden State Warriors because he's getting decent looks right now. And if Steph has to sit, that's just going to be a little bit more. I don't think you guys need me to talk you into Podziemski all that much. So I don't know. What more do I need to really say there? He had 15 and 3, not his best game yesterday, but he had 3 threes. He had a steal, and he's just generally doing enough lately. So he should stay on your roster. Quick commercial break, and then we'll get to the very closers and the watch list guys right after this. All right, here we go. The very close list. And as I've explained on a lot of these shows recently, these are guys that might belong on your roster. I'm not specifically telling you don't pick up these dudes. I am telling you that for me, I'm not all the way convinced. And the 5 names on the very close board are DaQuan Jeffries, Ziaire Williams, TJ McConnell, Gary Trent Jr., and Jordan Goodwin. Jeffries, he's on the very close list because the minutes have been there. He played 33 again yesterday, despite the fact that all the main dudes were in for Charlotte. Mark Williams played 31 minutes. LaMelo Ball played 28. And again, they're not going to over push these guys. Miles Bridges, 33. And they've just decided that Jeffries is going to be the 4th guy who gets minutes. The problem with Jeffries is that his fantasy game is completely non-existent. He had 2 blocks in a row in a couple games straight, or he had 2 blocks, I should say, per game in a couple games in a row. Here, he didn't have any. He had 1 steal, shot 4 for 7 from the field with 3 threes. Like, okay, I guess you got something out of it, but you don't even really know what you're going to get out of him on a game-to-game basis, like 9, 10 points. The assumption, of course, is here that the Charlotte Hornets rest most of their key guys tonight. Mark Williams and LaMelo Ball haven't played in a back-to-back in forever. So is there going to be maybe more for Jeffries in this ball game? Possibly. But even then, I don't know what you're going to get. Ziaire Williams is the next one on the very close board. And again, I think a lot of the jump yesterday had to do with Cam Johnson being out. But Ziaire has generally been doing enough lately to at least deserve some attention. The problem, of course, is that he's not a great percentages guy in general. He's been better lately. So he has to do a lot of the other stuff to cover up some of the larger. I guess the free throw percent is not bad for him. I should be more careful with my word use. His field goal percent is trash. He's shooting 41.5% from the field on the season. So he has to be excellent in free throws, and he has to be consistently decent in steals, and he has to get you threes and rebounds and all that stuff. And lately he has. Over the last 2 weeks, he's at 15 points, 5 boards, a steal, 0.7 blocks, over 3 threes a game, which is pretty consistently useful if you need threes and steals and rebounds or some rebounds, I guess, and some scoring. And I think you can probably bank on those categories with Ziaire. It's hard to put my eggs in that basket because the rebounds have never really been high. He's just like almost getting 5 every single ball game consistently. Steals pretty consistent. Blocks, not so much. He had a couple games in there where he had a few more, and then he's had 1 over his last 6 games after 4 in the previous 2. So you're probably looking at 12, 13 points, couple of threes, 4 to 5 rebounds, 1 point something steals. And if you're going to hunt for that, you might as well go Kevin Huerter, I think. TJ McConnell is also close. He's not been very good in this particular run without Halliburton, so I'm not going to add him until I see him wake up a little bit. Gary Trent Jr. is on the very close board, mostly because Damian Lillard was out, and the Lakers were non-competitive in yesterday's game. Lakers sat the entire starting 5, minus Jackson Hayes, who they benched basically for the entire second half anyway. And things are funny when Markieff Morris is the starting power forward and gets 28 minutes. Bronny played 30 minutes yesterday. This was a G League game. 6th in 8 days for the Lakers. So you knew if they could beat Denver the night before that they were going to sit everybody down. So Gary Trent got loose. Made a lot of his shots, super efficient in this ball game. I would only look at him if Dame misses another one, but it kind of felt like Milwaukee was like, oh, okay, you're running your G League team. We're going to get somebody a day off. And of their regulars, and the Bucks need wins, so they couldn't really play with their food. So they were like, we can only rest one of Dame, Giannis, or Brook Lopez. Who needs it the most? And they picked Dame. And that's why Ryan Rollins is also on the watch list, because he's the guy who starts for Lillard and tends to get pretty good steals numbers. He usually gets okay assist numbers. He did fine in this ball game, but I don't think he or Trent has another one in the chamber unless Dame gets another day off. And then Jordan Goodwin is probably the closest of all of these guys to somebody I would throw on my team. I strongly considered adding him yesterday, and I just didn't quite get myself over the hump, and I'm regretting it because the league where I'm trying to win the finals, I need rebounds, I need assists, I need steals, and I need blocks. And Goodwin got precisely those 4 things yesterday. 8 boards, 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. He went like shooting guard Draymond Green edition with his stat line. And he's on a pretty furious run right now for a Lakers team that is expecting at least one of their injured key guys back on Saturday. So that throws a wrench into a bunch of stuff. It sounds like LeBron is targeting Saturday for his return. We don't know if that's actually going to happen. We also don't know if that means Rui Hachimura might be back. He's day-to-day as well. If the Lakers get everybody back, Goodwin probably slides back down into more like a 20 to 24-minute role instead of what he's had lately with LeBron out, with Rui out, which is more of like a 25 to 33-minute role. And that's a big jump. I mean, we're talking a solid like 7-8 minutes of playing time, which for a guy who, when you're playing 20 minutes, you get an extra 8. That's almost a half more. So his numbers skyrocket. He's always been a very good steals guy. He's always been a decent blocks from the guard position guy. He's actually always been a pretty good rebounding guard as well. But what's happened lately is he's had opportunity to take 8, 7, 8, 9 shots per game around Luka and Reeves when they're down multiple starters. So the assists went up from 1.5 to 3, and the rebounds went up from 3 to 5. And the scoring went up from 7 to 11 or 12. And the steals went up from 1.5 to 2. And the blocks went up from, 0.6 to 1 point something. All that stuff probably falls off a cliff with Goodwin when LeBron and Rui come back. But we don't have the news right now, and we likely won't until right before the ball game tomorrow. And that was one of the reasons that I didn't pick up Goodwin. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's going to have a game that's really good for my team yesterday. But I don't know about Saturday. The watch list, Trey Lyles. We'll keep an eye on him in case he somehow jumps over Jonas Valanciunas more consistently. Same story for Jake LaRavia, but I don't think we need to move on those guys today. Lyles would be the closer of them because he's coming off a more exciting performance of 22 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, a block, and 4 3-pointers. He also made all 6 of his free throws. He shot 6 out of 11 from the field. But 24 minutes is not enough. You got to have more. 24 minutes is fine if you're schedule playing him. He's been a solid schedule play. But in terms of like a pickup for any period of time, nah. The Raptors are on my watch list because they basically played their guys yesterday. Not RJ Barrett, but Pirtle played 28 minutes. Barnes, 34. Quickly, 31. And that blew up all the other guys. AJ Lawson only got 10. Jonathan Mobo came back and played 28. He got back for a couple of ball games now. Jamison Battle played 33. Jamal Shed, 27. Castleton down to 19. I think you got to... I mean, they're off for a couple of days now, so... Hunt on it? Question mark? Probably. Period? Sure. Jonathan Kuminga's on my watch list. He is out there, and he is just firing with reckless abandon right now. But that's not going to hold once he gets more slotted into the main stuff. And he had 16, 4, and 3 with a couple of steals. So like a pretty good fantasy line yesterday. But we know enough about Kuminga to know that his fantasy stats don't really stick. Here's the caveat. If Steph has to miss any amount of time, they're going to need somebody to go score alongside Jimmy Butler. And maybe you could count on Quentin Post to get hot every once in a while, which is what happened yesterday. And maybe you can get some stuff out of Buddy Hield every once in a while, and Podziemski is doing okay. But Kuminga's the guy who has I don't want to say the greenest light, but at least inside his own brain, he has the greenest light. So there may be a Kuminga run here if Steph has to miss any time. And you can probably throw a couple other Warriors on your watch list while you're at it. Moses Moody should be on your watch list. He's been okay lately, but when Podziemski came back, Moody fell off. Now, if Steph is out, you might see Moody come back in, or it might be Buddy Hield. I don't know that you can get out in front of it, though. And the Warriors' schedule, which was great to start this week, is very light after tomorrow. So I wouldn't go out on a limb for these guys. You kind of you're looking at them from a games cap perspective. Let's see what they do if Steph has to miss any time, and we'll move from there. Guys, before I give you the very last watch list names, a reminder to please hit that subscribe button. It is so important for us here at Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball because we've got all these things coming up. I have massive Old Man Squad news that I cannot break to you basically until the end of the regular season. So stick with us here. Please subscribe. The news does involve a ton of really cool content coming your way. And including, by the way, some new types of content. Also, some similar content to what I do. Oh, man, I'm going too far. I'm going to give it all away. I'm going to stop myself, but it's a reason to subscribe. Also hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. That still does matter. I know it's like at this point you've done it all year, but force a habit. And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, do drop that 5-star review. It does help, believe it or not, especially as we ramp up towards next year. Helps when people are searching for their stuff. The last names on the watch list, I already talked about Ryan Rollins, but the other one is Kyle Kuzma if he happens to get it going or if the Bucks give him a little bit more wiggle room. I don't expect Kuzma to do much. You guys know I hate his fantasy game, but he's had 2 decent ones in a row. He's been more efficient. I would bet most of my vast riches that he's just in a mini heater right now because it happens to everybody in the NBA. But on the off chance that, let's say, Giannis gets a day off or whatever, or yesterday it was Dame getting a day off, those are days where you probably can drop Kuzma into your lineup and you can probably feel a little bit more comfortable with it. But bear in mind, yesterday was against a G League Lakers team. Jordan Goodwin's a good defender, and that's about as far as you can go on that. I mean, Jackson Hayes is an okay defender, but they didn't play him. That's the funny thing about yesterday's game, too. If the Lakers had really run their guys into the ground, they might have stayed a little bit competitive. Markieff Morris was a +7 in that game, which I get, 1 day plus minus means absolutely nothing. Hayes was only a -5. Goodwin was a -18. Bronny was a -36. Shake Milton was a -37. I mean, the game got out of hand. Lakers played Cam Reddish 22 minutes. Remember how many times I used to come on this show and complain about how Cam Reddish was probably the worst player that I've watched in the NBA in years? Remember when the Lakers had to actually play him? Yeesh. Thank goodness those days are done. All right, that's that. That's our show. I don't know if do you guys enjoy the fact that I'm doing it in sort of this condensed fashion instead of going through each box score one by one? I just think this makes more sense. We can focus on key guys that you should have your eye on and when to pick them up. Is it a games cap pickup? Is it a what am I looking for here? Is it a schedule play? Whatever. That's why we need the pod. Because I'll put this stuff out on social media, but the list themselves doesn't really mean anything. You guys need more. So I hope you guys are joining us for these shows. I thank you if you are. Obviously, if you're watching, you are. And we'll be back in about 2.5 hours with our Friday and into the weekend streaming show. Because, again, I'm trying to do these every single day. My streak was broken by Younger Child's Parent-Teacher Conference Day yesterday. I had it broken last weekend by Little League and baseball activities. My goal of doing 35 streaming shows in a row was a little bit of a pipe dream. We're -2 on that right now. And I don't know which days I'm going to be able to do a double up this weekend either. I'll get done what I can get done, but if you want the weekend streaming stuff, it's probably going to be in this Friday show. I mean, I know it will be in this Friday show coming up in about 2.5 hours, and then it may or may not appear again for the next day or two after that. But we'll get something for you for sure. We're trying to win these things right now. I'm focused really hard on getting the best streaming info to you guys, getting the best games cap info to you guys, and I hope you are enjoying it. I'm Dan. I'll see you guys in a couple hours for the streaming show. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe on your way out. See you soon.